This one really is just so sad and so hard to report on when you're talking about 3 children who died. We are told they are between the ages of 8 and 12. It has been brutal. It has been absolutely brutal, and I wish I could say the winds are heading east or the winds are heading west, but quite frankly, I feel like I'm in sort of a really wide tornado. The problem is that one doesn't have a rope around him. He doesn't have any reins. And unfortunately, he's doing what horses do right now. He's running to what he knows is safe. Yeah. And that is this particular stable, which is unfortunately on fire. Yeah, this is just wild. I mean, look how big the trunk of this tree is, the base of this tree is with the roots, and then look what it did to this home over here to the right-hand side. I mean, it is massive. It came down on top of this 2-story house with 2 families living in it, one on top and one in the bottom. It is 5 p.m. and still 93 degrees here in the city of Pacoima. However, this thermometer registers the street at closer to 130 degrees. However, if I continue to walk onto the now treated area of the asphalt, you can see that temperature drop significantly. Yeah, it really is just a mess out here, Amy, to say the least. The good news is the roadway seems to have been cleared, but county crews are still working on that. The problem is, well, everything else. I mean, take a look at this driveway here. You can see this Tesla is still buried in mud that came from up the mountainside behind it, as many in this community are still trying to dig out. But Freeman's donation is just the beginning. The Orange Unified School District will put in the other $600,000 to make this project come to life. We're testing the floats and our waves. See? Look at us. We're getting ready. Obviously, the countdown is on to the Tournament of Roses parade, which will take place on January 1st. I got to be honest, though, UGG doesn't have a lot of the steals at the outlet malls that you see at places like Kate Spade, but you can still get good deals, I like to say. I got these because, and these may be for me.
Oh,
look how cute they are.
Slippers are my favorite Uggs.
It's already a party. I haven't seen Snoop yet, but he's supposed to do some sort of a performance before the draft gets underway at 5 o'clock. But take a look at all the fans already here. We are live at SoFi Stadium with, of course, all the Bolts fans. But take a look at this crowd out here as folks lined up a little before 8 o'clock to get that free pair of cleats here in this community. All of it courtesy of Hunter Greene, the Cincinnati Reds player who played at Notre Dame High School and was drafted in the 2nd round back in 2017. And I'm joined now by Hunter Greene, taking a real quick break from talking to the kids and stuff that are out here. Look at this turnout. What do you think of all this?
It's amazing, you know, to see all these kids come out here. For me to be able to support them, but to also support me in my career is really special. Makes me a little, makes me cry a little bit, but it's nice.
There's no crying on morning TV. I'm just warning you right now.
Not in baseball.
No crying in baseball either. And we are playing Plinko with Alexis and James and telling folks to come on down here to Inglewood as we are celebrating 50 years of The Price is Right. I'm Joy Benedict. We'll have that story coming up.
I couldn't see anything, right? I'm just like laying there and I'm just like praying like, God, like, please let me be able to see after this.
A former Olympic volleyball player is recovering tonight after she was brutally beaten. Former Olympian Kim Glass said she was walking with a friend when a homeless man suddenly attacked her.
Well, bystanders helped her and held that man down until police arrived. KCAL9's Joy Benedict is live in downtown LA where the attack happened. She's got her terrifying story. Joy?
Yeah, Pat, I mean, just a horrific experience for anyone to go through. But on this particular day, it was Kim Glass, the former Olympian, here downtown at this corner of Olive and 8th. She had just finished lunch with a friend. She was outside on the sidewalk when she was attacked, and she is speaking out today simply because she wants to try and make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
These are so pretty.
With a smile that lights up the room, former Olympian Kim Glass is overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from friends and strangers.
Well, first of all, my mom always said I had a hard head, so.
But when you are a victim of a crime, the emotions can change quickly.
My sister was like, he could have killed you. And I guess I don't look at it like that because he didn't, but he could have.
Glass was viciously attacked by a homeless man downtown on Friday in the middle of the day.
He looked at me like with like rage in his eyes.
She says she saw him coming, turned to warn a friend, and that's when he threw a construction bolt at her head.
And I just fell to the ground, right? And I fall to the ground, my phone falls on the ground, and all of a sudden, blood's just squirting everywhere. And I'm just like praying like, God, like, please let me be able to see after this.
Good Samaritans came to her aid, and this man even held down the suspect until police arrived. But as she has learned more about her attacker, she can't help but also be angry.
It shouldn't have to take for people to die for us to make change, you know? And I honestly don't know what the full answer is, but what we're doing right now isn't it.
Police say her attacker is Simeon Tesfamarian. He was charged with assault with a deadly weapon but did not appear in court because of possible mental illness. He was homeless, and this wasn't his first offense. At the time of the attack, he was on parole for assault.
I feel bad for him because, you know, I don't know, I just feel bad for him still. You can still feel for someone and still feel like they need to be held accountable, and he needs to be held accountable.
She has multiple stitches, severe bruises to her face, and broken bones.
Right here in my orbital bone, I have multiple fractures.
But still, she has hope.
He almost took me away from my family. It's like the most important thing in the world to me, you know? And so, but God knew it wasn't finished. You know what I mean? Like, he knew that I have something to do, I think, and I'm trying to figure what that is out.
But for now, she is just thankful to be able to tell her story, and for those who jumped in to make sure she could.
It's so beautiful to all the people that helped me. I'm really grateful for them all.
Very tough story to hear. Now, Kim Glass, and she's no longer playing professional volleyball. She works as a personal trainer as well as a fitness model, things she cannot do right now since this attack. As for that suspect, he will appear in court again after a mental evaluation. If convicted, he faces up to 11 years in prison. Guys.
Oh, thank you, Joy. That story was so hard to hear, but just at the end, how she still wants to persevere.
And she's on the mend, which is the most important thing. Well, his music inspired a generation, and his death made him a legend.
Yes, just 3 years after the murder of LA rapper Nipsey Hussle, his clothing store, where he was shot to death, still draws crowds. But also with the crowds comes crime. And today, the LA City Council voted to close the area near the intersection of Slauson Avenue and Crenshaw Boulevard for up to 18 months. KCAL9's Joy Benedict explains what's been happening.
I grew up in LA in the 90s, you know, in the Crenshaw district.
It is a neighborhood Nipsey Hussle put on the map, first in life and then in death.
My real name is Ermias Ascadon. My first name means God will rise.
But today, the area known as Nipsey Square is fenced in.
I believe they should let them see it because they come from all over the world.
Kaboo is a vendor on Crenshaw Avenue.
Nip, we got some lady rappers, some LA rappers.
He set up shop inside his Greene machine, honoring the culture of Crenshaw after the rapper died. 3 years later, he still sells merchandise to tourists who come to feel a connection to the Grammy-winning artist.
Take their pictures and they come and buy stuff and have a nice time.
How lucrative is this business for you?
It's pretty lucrative. It's very lucrative. It's better than selling drugs.
And although murals and photos of Hussle are posted at every turn, the city council voted to put up a gate and barriers to block the alley behind his now closed store, citing an increase in shootings, robberies, thefts, and drug abuse. The theory is this fence will help stop crime.
It's crime in Hollywood. It's crime in Beverly Hills. It's crime everywhere.
Kaboo admits some have been robbed, and neighbors say it's tourists.
We can only try to stop it as much as we can over here, and that's what we've been doing.
Despite the vote, neighbors say this alley has actually been closed for about 6 months, but now it will remain closed for at least 18 more.
Now, when they try to come, you know, to look and take the pictures they hear so much about, they can't get through.
Midnight drives a tour bus through LA's legendary hip-hop spots. He says people are disappointed, as are these tourists from Texas.
I had to come here. I wanted to come here just to say I've been here.
And the fence doesn't seem to be stopping the traffic or the hustle.
Yeah, they brought me up for everybody. Everybody that wanted some money.
Is this what Nipsey would have wanted?
No, I don't think so.
For the man who worked so hard to help bring up his neighborhood, and everyone who lived here still does just that. But those who make a living on this corner fear that if the attraction goes away, their marathon may end as well. Joy Benedict, KCAL 9 News. That's right, Juan. Right now, we're about a block away from Japanese Village Plaza in the heart of Little Tokyo. Across the street from where we're standing, that is Toriumi Plaza. And you can see there's a lot of tents still set up, even though tomorrow is the deadline for everyone to get out. It was a night of mixed emotions for the unhoused still camped at Toriumi Plaza, as the signs posted say they must go.
It's very concerning. It's kind of like they're splitting up our family.
Do you know where you're going to go or what's going to happen?
Not at all.
Tommy Miller is choosing to stay one more night in the tent he's called home for the last 3 months, but he's been homeless since 2012.
My difficulties at the beginning was my mom becoming a nun, but after that, it's just mostly been me.
A few feet away, Christopher was packing up.
One thing I can assure myself is at least I have my property.
He is worried about leaving most of his belongings behind and frustrated that he has to find a new spot on the street.
You pick a place out, oh yeah, this is nice. You leave, you come back the next day, and they have to move. So it's like, okay, now I have to find another place.
Toriumi Plaza is the latest location in LA, being gated up and cleaned up after an encampment has grown since the beginning of the pandemic. Councilman Kevin De Leon's office says they have already found 61 people a room through the Los Angeles Housing Services Authority, an agency that's placed hundreds of unhoused, including Liliana Melendez.
Okay, sent to a hotel room and I'm still there.
How is that?
Good. It's my room, a bathroom in my room. Yes. TV, big bed, my room, peace, quiet, inside.
Melendez came by the plaza to check on a friend, but she couldn't find him. But many, like Christopher, don't want a room.
You have a curfew. You have to be in by 10 and out by 7. Who does that? No visitors. You can't cook in your room. No, I'd rather be out here on the street where I can do what I want to do.
So he pedaled off to do just that.
They said that they would put me in a place, but they haven't gotten back to me.
As for Tommy Miller, he's signed up but is still waiting. So he's staying the night, hoping social workers will have good news in the morning.
I have not been housed. I'm just waiting for someone to come get me. Really, I'm ready to go. So, hi, just come get me. I'm still here.
And we certainly hope that Tommy does find that housing. Now, social workers are expected to be back out here again tomorrow. It is tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, according to the posted signs, where everyone must vacate the plaza. And that's when they'll put up the fencing and then start to repair the area. Guys.
All right. Good reporting there, Joy. We can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. And, yeah, rooting for Tommy.
It's had plenty of stops and starts, but car makers continue their work to develop a fully self-driving vehicle. And while that technology is being readied for our roadways, something similar is happening up above. Many say a future of autonomous planes piloted by a robot from takeoff to landing is not far off. From California, Joy Benedict has the story.
Way before intersection.
We see it on the roads.
Alexa, show me my calendar.
And in our homes. But as we seem to be trusting computers to do more.
System has control of yokes.
Would you?
Increase speed to 145 knots.
Could you?
Airplane is now accelerating.
Fly.
Good job, robot.
Jonathan Beast Beers spent 16 years as a military pilot. Now he spends his days riding shotgun to a robot.
I know I'm testing myself out of a job, but I think it's for the better.
As fully autonomous flights are already in the air.
This is the future of technology, so either get on board or get left behind.
Beers is a test pilot for Merlin Labs, a Boston startup company testing autonomous flight technology thousands of feet above the Mojave Desert in Southern California.
What we're building at Merlin truly is the world's most experienced, capable, most flexible pilot.
Matt George is the company's founder and CEO.
Our system in the future will be able to be the sole occupant of that aircraft, enabling that aircraft to fly fully autonomously without a person aboard.
Meet George Jetson.
But that true Jetsons lifestyle is not what the company is focused on first.
We think that the technology takes place with cargo first. Eventually, I think we'll start to see some transition to that true Jetsons future, where everybody has a flying car in their driveway. But we think there's a pretty long progression.
The flight plan to autonomy is moving very quickly. Merlin Labs was just founded in 2018. Bierce came on board a few months later.
All right, you ready for a little bit of G's?
I am. They first installed their software on this experimental canard.
We used this so that we could fly engineers in it as well, so that they could see their code running on the airplane.
From the canard to the Long Easy to the King Air, flight after flight after flight, tweaking and teaching the Merlin flight control system to eventually fly itself.
I'm seeing so many gadgets and gizmos. How is a computer going to know which one to push or how to communicate with the tower?
It is using what's called an onboard inertial navigation system, and it's sensing accelerations on the airplane.
The challenge is in getting the plane to fly straight. As autopilot has been around for decades, it's like cruise control on your car. Full autonomy requires the computer to make decisions like how to avoid other things in the sky.
Once that airplane gets towards a certain bubble around mine, it'll deviate and say, I need to avoid that plane. It's got basically three options. I can climb, I can descend, or I can turn.
Right now, they have planes flying from takeoff to touchdown on their own.
Look, Ma, no hands.
But this technology won't fly unless it can communicate with air traffic control.
What are they connecting to?
Which is why on this day, engineers in Boston and pilots in California were working together on voice commands.
November 90 Delta for traffic. Climb and maintain 6,000.
And although the computer listened to Bierce, it did not take my commands.
November 90 Delta, increased speed 145 knots.
So they diverted to Plan B, a text message, yet another safety option in the event of failure.
So we always have a backup in case the system doesn't work.
And although Merlin Labs isn't the only tech bird in the flock, it is leading the formation, working with the FAA Center for Emerging Concepts and Innovation.
We are the first ever company in the world to get certification basis on a takeoff to touchdown autonomy system.
You guys are this new, fresh company, and you are literally competing with Boeing and these other companies that have been around for decades.
We're competing and winning. We're pushing the boundary of what's possible, but doing that in a safe way in collaboration with our regulator. But yeah, we're coming for them.
Merlin Labs is building software to be installed on any existing plane, meaning companies won't have to buy a new fleet just to use it. It already signed its first contract with Ameriflight to install its program on cargo planes scheduled for takeoff in 2023.
Enabling e-commerce purchases to be able to move around the country autonomously. So you'll still have a safety pilot aboard, just like with autonomous vehicles where there's still a safety driver aboard. But the aircraft will be flying autonomously from takeoff to touchdown, integrating with air traffic control and carrying your Amazon purchase in the back.
So at first, it may be one pilot instead of two, and then none. But since the plane is flown by a computer, Bierce says there are many advantages.
It doesn't care what it sees in front of it. It's only using data in order to fly.
Bad weather, smoke from wildfires, or rugged remote terrain are no longer factors for flight.
If it saves people's lives and saves assets in the long run, then awesome. That's why I'm here.
But convincing consumers to get on board, even in theory, may not be as easy.
Building that social license with the public is really critical. It's time, trust, and lots of repetitions. By those small incremental steps is how you fundamentally change something as large as the World's Air Network.
A task as big as the blue. But with new technology giving us wings, we may all be a little closer to touching the sky.
I had so many questions to ask, but now I'm just mesmerized.
Yeah, the joy of flight.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Joy Benedict, Mojave, California.